Hello and welcome to the Monmouthshire and Brecon Canal, the Mon and Breck. It is a truly stunningly beautiful canal, a little gem. The trouble is, it's not connected to the rest of the canal network, but it's that quirk that gave rise to the invention of the boats I've come to see today. Welcome to South Wales, where it's no great surprise to find it's raining. Another clue you're in Wales is when filming is interrupted by sheep. Regular viewers will know I am partial to a tiny narrowboat, but this isn't what I've come to see today. Every now and then on my videos you'll have caught glimpses of an extremely small fibreglass canal boat. Here's a prime example on the Trent and Mersey recently. It's a Wilderness Trailboat, and their natural home is South Wales, which is why I went to a tiny slipway at the side of the canal, where the designer of those ingenious craft was about to slide one into the water. And here it comes, easily towed on a small trailer by a compact family car. The man who invented it in the 1970s told me how it came about.
It was nearly 50 years ago. We were living in this area, husband, wife and two children, and we desperately wanted to get afloat on the waterways, particularly this Monmouthshire and Brecon Canal, and we had a little bit of cash left over from a house transaction, so we built the first boat as a prototype. No, it wasn't a prototype at the time, it was the family boat. It was based on an expanded Thames punt, shorter than Thames punt but wider, and this gave it extreme stability, and we built a shed-like structure on the top of it, and this peculiar craft was then set afloat on this particular canal. In building the first boat, it wasn't really the intention to go into the boat building business. People came along and said, "Where did you get that? Where can I get one from?" And we suddenly realised that maybe there was some possibility of going into production, although at that time I had no industrial experience. So I got my head together with my brother-in-law, who was a qualified carpenter, and we set about building patterns to make our own glass fibre moulds for a boat of our own slightly revised design, and that was called the water rat.
This is a water rat, a floating shed as Ian described.
The wilderness boat concept really developed a few years later when we realised how trailable the boat was. We built a rudimentary trailer for the prototype boat, and then we went into production of the water rat boats, and then we started supplying trailers because a number of customers had cars big enough to tow this size of load. The later model emerged in 1978, which was the 23-foot Beaver, which is a longer version of this boat that I've got here today.
Let's have a look around a 23-foot version then, which is truly a marvel of packaging that Sir Alec Issigonis himself would be impressed by. 23 feet doesn't sound like much, but you can pack an awful lot in. The rear deck is a lovely open space for steering or enjoying a nice tipple when you're moored. The seats double as storage lockers, as well as containing propane cylinders for cooking and heating and the leisure batteries. Motive power comes from an outboard petrol engine. There's space if you want it for solar on the roof. To give a comparison with a conventional narrowboat, here's one now. You could get 2.5 wilderness boats in the same space, making mooring a breeze and turning, as you'll see. Inside are 4 berths, a galley and shower room. 2 berths are at the front, which during the day make up a dinette and seating area. To maximise legroom, the berths disappear into the bow by a fraction. With so much glass to the front and the sides, it's light and doesn't feel at all cramped, even on a rainy day. The tiny well deck is shaped to just give enough space to sit out if the weather improves, and you can see the water tank filler cap on the corner there. The linear galley offers 2 gas burners with an oven and grill beneath, and there's a compact sink to the side with a tiny draining board. Opposite is not only a worktop, but a 12-volt compressor fridge below, and a cupboard for food, crockery and utensils. There's extra storage on the bulkhead between the galley and the rear cabin. Speaking of that, here you have 2 further bunks, again extending under the deck so as to ensure sufficient legroom. It's an ingenious way to squeeze in the 4 berths. A hanging cupboard is there for clothes. The toilet is an electric flush cassette type, like I have on my narrowboat. There's also a shower and sink. Under the step into the cabin is another storage area, here housing a small generator as well as other items. Underneath the modern fuse box and switch panel is a control for blown air central heating. In the cockpit lockers, fuel for the outboard, propane cylinders and other boaty essentials, plus not 1 but 2 leisure batteries. The popularity of this clever little boat on the Mon and Breck is easily seen browsing the craft moored at this wharf further along the canal. Every other boat, it seemed, was a Wilderness. I spoke to one of the owners, who explained how he'd come to choose it.
Wife and I have been on the canals for 45 years. Originally hiring, tried to get away on a holiday once a year, and liked it so much we must have hired for about 20 odd years, and lastly one of our last hires was on the Mon and Breck, and then we realised that this is beautiful, you know, really is a different canal, and it's the closest to home for us. So we started then seriously looking for a boat. It took us about 2 years, and we narrowed it down to one other type of cruiser and the Wilderness craft. And well, we just got lucky with the Wilderness. We kind of like the whole style. It looks like the design of a canal narrowboat, as you appreciate, but it's not. You know, it's a GRP. But of course, she's so light in construction and in weight, tonnage, highly manoeuvrable, perfect for this type of canal. The narrow confines. She'll spin round on sixpence and float on damp grass, as I call it. So it really ticked all the boxes for us.
Clive describes the boat as being able to float on damp grass. It's a flat-bottom design, but there are some lowered bumps in the keel to help keep it going straight and true as you chug along. The other favourite feature of a Wilderness that Clive mentioned is its turning circle, as you'll now see demonstrated. Not for these owners, having to keep going until you find a suitable winding hole to turn around, as you would with most narrowboats. For a Wilderness, pretty much anywhere is a winding hole. And before you know it, you're heading back the other way. Clive says the boats are ideal for all kinds of reasons.
I think it's the compact size and how they're designed inside. They've got really all the fittings you need of a larger boat, but more compact. They're easy access. That's a big selling point, and very much appreciated. They're walk on, walk off. Many of the boats you'll see around you and on the canals are climb aboard. You have to lift your leg and climb over. Now, with folk either disabled or get elderly, this becomes a little difficult. These craft, you just walk on and step down and you're in. There's plenty of headroom. They're very comfortable. They're light and airy. I think I ought to be selling them.
Would you ever sell yours?
No. I'd prefer not to. No, I don't think so. unless it was for an upgraded model, put it that way.
Speaking of other models, the one I was watching being launched at the slipway was even smaller at just 17.5 feet. This is the Beaver Cub version, but even so, it still fits in 2 berths which convert to a dinette, a galley and shower room. Inside is the now familiar wide expanse of glass at the bow doors and to the sides of the cabin, giving you clear views of the canal and all the beauty it holds. The dinette follows the same arrangement as before. That table comes down to form an infill when you want to use this space as a bed. The water tank, by the way, is under the end bench seat, just visible through that hatch. There's a hot air heating vent. At the back, where you step inside, the galley faces the shower room. No shortage of facilities here, with 4 gas rings, grill and oven, plus a caravan-style 3-way fridge. That has storage underneath and above, with every little nook used for something. The tiny shower room, or cupboard really, houses a portable toilet, a fold-away sink and a shower. This black box under the rear deck seats heats both water and cabin air, so staying aboard need not be uncivilised in any way. Finally, there's 2 leisure batteries underneath all that gear, kept topped up by a tiny solar panel on the roof. After backing the boat down the slip into the water, it's a simple matter of disconnecting the strap and pushing the boat out. With the little outboard motor burbling nicely, the diminutive Beaver Cub can be spun around and pointed in the direction of adventure. Mother and son owners Ruth and Jackson told me the boats have multiple uses.
We were attracted to the fact that we can trail the boat, that we can pull it out to the canal easily. Our canal where we're based is disconnected, so we can go anywhere in this country, but also the ability to use it as a caravan whilst it's on the trailer means that we can then go further afield, and as many other wilderness owners have done, take it to France is our main aim.
It is a very practical boat for its size. It's got all of the accommodation that you would ever need on a boat of that size, and it's quite easy to drive, very easy to handle, and just very practical.
Theirs was fitted out by a prior owner and is now a bit of a DIY project to turn into their dream. I'll show you some of the unique features of the fit-out, starting with the funky lighting. The shower room is neat in that the portable toilet can be pushed back under a cupboard when not in use, so you get maximum showering space and the loo doesn't get soaked. Imagine that out of the way and you've got quite a decent-sized shower stall. Plus it leaves enough room for a full-size sink instead of a fold-away one, with storage underneath. Another unusual touch is that the galley has been made extra narrow, so the space between it and the shower doesn't feel cramped when you're cooking, normally an issue on a boat of this layout. I rather like the foot pump for the water to the sink, using no battery power. And here the forward dinette is 2 facing bunks, rather than the U-shaped arrangement seen in the other boats. Each has a bedside light switch within reach, no emerging from under the covers to turn the light off here. More design ideas are apparent as what appears to be a bulkhead is in fact a concealed dining table which slots between the forward seats. And even more clever, the step to the back deck is not just a cupboard but a drawer that slides fully forward between the bunks, giving you a huge space for storage. Owning one of these is, say Ruth and Jackson, a gateway to a new world in more ways than one.
It takes about 10 seconds, if you're really quick, to untie the boat and you can be off.
Yeah, I think it's easy to use. It's very, very comfortable inside. Much more comfortable, I find, to sit in than a cruiser. Lovely to look out of the windows, lots of windows. And you're right, there is a community. It's nice to meet another wilderness on the canal. We all sort of know each other's boats more perhaps than the people. But there's a club as well, the Wilderness Boat Owners Club, which is national, not just on our canal obviously, but There is, yes, a proper community spirit, I think, for wilderness owners, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Owners Club has been a great joy to us. That it was self-started, nothing to do with us as manufacturers. This is people who had purchased a wilderness boat, realised they got something in common with their boating colleagues, and they started their own club. It is a virtual club in some respects because the membership is scattered so far around the UK and one or two overseas that they only meet up once a year, which is usually at a IWA Waterways Festival, and that's where they hold their AGM and conduct their business. But the rest of the time they've got a very good informative website, and they've also got an email ring where they all communicate with each other and share each other's problems and take on each other's solutions, and they're all honing their boats all the time to a considerable degree of satisfaction.
If at times I've sounded like an evangelist for these cute little boats during this video, I assure you it is not an advert. I just fell in love with them. I like their size, their design, and their story. And that tale just changed again too. Since filming this video, the designs and moulds and other stuff you need to build a brand new wilderness boat have been bought up by a company called Clearwater Boats, and they're going to restart production because there hadn't been any new ones built for quite a while. And they're offering some more modern day accessories too, like electric outboard motors. Hope you found the video interesting, and thanks for watching. Cheerio.